Not even the king of pop, Michael Jackson, could escape the dark forces controlling the music industry, and now 50 Cent is speaking out, revealing shocking truths about Oprah Winfrey's alleged involvement with Diddy, exposing the disturbing things happening at her school in Africa, and
this is very important because throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. It's been, the record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists.
Now let me say this.
Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish.
We're listening to Mike right now. Obviously, you know, this is a really sad time right now, but we're celebrating his life. Your thoughts right now on the situation and the timing of this tragedy?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's just somebody that changed my life. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I'll always love and cherish.
Shedding light on how black artists have been exploited for decades by powerful record labels that steal their wealth, control their image, and silence them when they resist, just as they did with legends like Prince, Tupac, and Michael Jackson, proving that the music industry is not just about talent and fame, but about manipulation, deception, and a system designed to use and discard artists once they are no longer profitable. And when we look deeper into the history of the music business, we see a repeating pattern where the most successful artists, especially
when you find out the person you love is a monster, like you sharing this information with me even about Michael Jackson, like, I don't want to believe you. I want to say it's the media. I want to say Oprah. Like, I want to say all of these things.
People were mad at Oprah.
I'm mad at Oprah.
You're mad at Oprah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think the young black boy who loved Michael Jackson wanted to be like, I don't want it to be true. I don't want, and I'm like, even, and that, again, it goes back to like, damn, are we just turning a blind eye because we had so much love for his talent and his ability?
Well, you said, you know, where's the Surviving Harvey Weinstein documentary?
Yeah.
And there are actually like 2 of those coming.
No, but in that statement, the reason why I made that, and it, like, people, like, you can read into it however you want to make.
Black artists are pushed into unfair contracts, robbed of their creative control, and then either smeared with scandals or mysteriously taken down when they start speaking out, which is why it is no surprise that Michael Jackson, who was one of the most powerful voices against industry corruption, was constantly targeted, just like Prince, who openly criticized record labels for treating musicians like slaves, and just like Kanye.
Just recently there was a story, and I know one of your attorneys held a news conference. There was a story about you wanting to have a little white boy play you in a Pepsi commercial.
That is so stupid. That's the most ridiculous, horrifying story I've ever heard. It's crazy. I mean, why? Number one, it's my face as a child in the commercial. Me when I was little. Why would I want a white child to play me? I'm a black American. I'm proud to be a black American. I am proud of my race. I am proud of who I am. I have a lot of pride in who I am and dignity. That's like you wanting an Oriental person to play you as a child. Does that make sense?
No.
So please, people, stop believing these
Michael,
horrifying
then
stories.
let's go to...
Okay, number one, this is the situation. I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is.
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller, around Off the Wall Thriller, sometime
and what did you think? I mean,
it's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad.
West, who, despite his undeniable influence, has faced immense backlash for exposing the hidden forces controlling the industry. And as more artists like 50 Cent continue to speak out, it becomes clearer than ever that the music industry is not just an entertainment business, but a deeply corrupt machine that preys on its own stars, using money, power.
But for me, this moment transcends Michael Jackson.
It is much bigger than any one person.
Oprah Winfrey opened up about her decision to speak to Michael Jackson's accusers for her After Neverland special when she stopped by The Daily Show on Wednesday night. Last month, Winfrey made headlines when she sat down with Michael Jackson accusers for Oprah Winfrey Presents After Neverland, which aired on HBO following the explosive documentary about the singer titled Leaving Neverland.
If they ever found out what we were doing, he and I would go to jail.
Winfrey said of her decision to do the special, "I haven't had that much hateration since I did the puppy episode with Ellen DeGeneres, aka the episode in which DeGeneres came out as gay." The talk show host continued, "But when I saw that documentary, I realized that a lot of people are going to be triggered by watching it, and a lot of people will not understand what the pattern is." Winfrey explained, "People call it molestation, but there is a big seducing that goes on, and that was important enough for me to take the hateration for."
And blackmail to keep them in line. And the involvement of figures like Oprah Winfrey only adds another layer to the disturbing reality, especially when we consider the horrifying allegations surrounding her school in Africa, which raises serious concerns about who is really behind these institutions and whether they are truly...
Well, she's been getting a lot of hate. Some of the tweet hate that Oprah's been getting, if karma is real, Oprah, after you are laid to rest, which is, I hope, many years from now, people will come out of the woodwork and lie on you, betray you, smear your name, the way they're doing Michael Jackson, and the people that you let in your inner circle will lead the way. Oprah, you are disgusting, a cheap mercenary.
Ooh. The reason the idea of Michael Jackson or any major person committing sexual abuse against children challenges so many people is because in every family, you have to face that some things are not the way they appear to be. And what people need to accept in their own families is that people can do good things, they can be loving and helpful, and also be an abuser and a person who does bad things. Both can be true. And we are experiencing this paradox as a reckoning in our country every day in the news, where both things can be true.
Yeah, she's right about that. Both things can be true. You can have somebody who appears to be very nice in the front and be evil behind closed doors.
You know that.
And that's what she's saying.
Meant to help the vulnerable, or if they serve a darker purpose. And if we connect the dots, we start to see a bigger picture where Hollywood, the music industry, and powerful elites all work together to control narratives, silence those who refuse to obey, and maintain a system where only those who comply with their rules are allowed to thrive, while those who resist, no matter how famous, wealthy...
3 days after Oprah publicly supported victims of sexual assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein, singer Seal Instagrammed this meme, showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul. It reads, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution."
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses, my bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a sexual assault survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum, kissing Weinstein too.
...or talented, are eventually brought down, which is why it is more important than ever for people to open their eyes, question the mainstream narratives, and support artists who have the courage to speak the truth. Because if we continue to ignore these patterns, more legends will be lost, more voices will be silenced.
Already, but you haven't kind of spoken yet publicly about what's going on.
I think that this is, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens, when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment. And what I do believe is actually happening is that, first of all, it's triggering a lot of unreleased pain, repressed anger, guilt, and suffering that a lot of women have had. I happened to be on set with several actresses the other day, and we were filming some things, and they were like, hadn't slept over a period of 2 or 3 days, and I was like, what is that? I said, oh, you guys are suffering from PTSD.
And when you start talking about it out loud, too,
everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And so I think this is a watershed moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women
who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think those days are about to be over.
Are over. And if it happens to you back in the day, you would say, sometimes you're not even aware what he just said wasn't really inappropriate.
I know you've had a couple moments.
Where you just think, what did he just say?
Yes, I remember Gail had a moment when she came and said to me what somebody said to her was so inappropriate. I was like, oh my God, you can sue over that. But
no, and all I said was, what did you say? And then they repeated it.
Yes. Terrible.
I just sat there typing with my 20-something-year-old.
You pretend you didn't hear it.
Yes.
You pretend it's okay. You pretend you didn't.
No, it isn't. You're right, Jeff. It absolutely. You're absolutely right.
But a lot of women have been silenced, and I know.
But I think it's going to change.
Of being a victim of child sexual abuse, that when you feel like you cannot be heard, and then other people start speaking out, it makes you feel like, oh, now I can speak out too.
Yeah. So, and you've been speaking about it for
years.
Yeah.
Not even the king of pop, Michael Jackson, could escape the dark forces controlling the music industry. And now 50 Cent is speaking out, revealing shocking truths about Oprah Winfrey's alleged involvement with Diddy, exposing the disturbing things happening at her school in Africa, and shedding light on how black artists have been exploited for decades by powerful record labels that steal their wealth, control their image, and silence them when they resist, just as they did with legends like Prince, Tupac, and Michael Jackson, proving that the music industry is not just about talent and fame but about manipulation, deception, and a system designed to use and discard artists once they are no longer profitable. And when we look deeper into the history of the music business, we see a repeated...
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay.
When
you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look at Mariah Carey, made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time in their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
Comedian Dave Chappelle left tens of millions of dollars on the table when he walked away from his popular Comedy Central show. A lot of people wondered what the hell was he thinking, and that's a quote. Chappelle says he had... Or whether he was thinking. A lot of people ask that question. Chappelle says he had a crisis of conscience and stood up for his integrity as an artist. He explained to us how stepping out of the spotlight helped him avoid getting caught in a trap. It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what? I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out of the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. The bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
Isn't that a great analogy?
What an analogy!
I know. He's very, very thoughtful and very, very smart.
Pattern where the most successful artists, especially black artists, are pushed into unfair contracts, robbed of their creative control, and then either smeared with scandals or mysteriously taken down when they start speaking out, which is why it is no surprise that Michael Jackson, who was one of the most powerful voices against industry corruption, was constantly targeted, just like Prince, who openly criticized record labels for treating musicians like slaves, and just like Kanye West, who, despite his undeniable influence, has faced immense backlash for exposing the hidden forces controlling the industry.
The trial of a former dormitory matron charged with abusing with 6 students at Oprah Winfrey School for Girls in South Africa is resuming. Prosecutors say former dorm matron Tina Virginia Makopo tried to kiss and fondle the girls. She's also accused of kicking and hitting some of them. Makopo pleaded innocent to 14 charges of indecent assault and criminal injury in South Africa. Meanwhile, in Philadelphia, the ex-headmistress of the $40 million school is suing Winfrey for defamation. The suit claims someone would conclude from Winfrey's comments that the school employee knew of the alleged abuse and was actively involved in covering it up.
I was, needless to say, devastated and really shaken to my core.
Winfrey said she was disappointed in the former headmistress. The TV talk show host also made comments about students who felt there was an atmosphere of repression at the school.
And I spoke to all the girls personally, and I encouraged all